Greetings, COM 111 students. This is Kelly Brennan. Today I want to talk to you about analyzing your audience. What's so important in public speaking is knowing your audience. But how do you do that? There's no real good way other than just to look around and to guess. But you want to remain politically correct. It's better to be overly cautious than to be wrong. So when you look at audience demographics and you wonder, well, what is it? I mean, what is audience demographics? Why do we even need to consider it? And how do we determine audience demographics? Let me answer the bottom one. How do we determine audience demographics? Simply guessing. Now, there are times where you might be able to get on an organization's website and go to their HR department. They might be able to tell you in their census report how many males, how many females, the average age, and so on. But it's not always possible. Sometimes you can ask the person to whom you are setting up your speaking engagement with to tell you a little bit about the audience that you're going to speak to. But that may not always be possible either. So you want to arrive early enough to just get a good scan of the audience and make the best educated guess you can. Now, why do we even need to consider it? Because you want to connect to the audience. If I can't connect, I may as well talk to the wall. And that's the thing that makes the difference between a mediocre speech and a great speech. Is because a great speaker knows her or his audience and connects to them. It's as if the audience feels like, wow, that person's talking to me, as opposed to talking at me. So if you think about, well, in today's day and age, has it become difficult? Yeah, it has. I mean, when I look at where I am now in my career of teaching, well over 24, almost 25 years ago, students who went to college during that time was much different than students going to college today. Today, the buzzword is multiculturalism. And sometimes what you see isn't always what it is. So here is what we mean about the 7 different audience demographics you want to consider. For example, age. Why do we need to even consider age? Or gender, or ethnicity, or education, or religion, economic status, or even group membership. The reason you want to consider age is because it gives you an influence in regards to their frame of reference. For example, I'm 60 years old. If I wanted to give a younger audience of college students between the ages of 18 to about 24, if I wanted to give them an informative speech on some of the musical influences of today in the year 2019, who would I talk about? Justin Bieber? Miranda Cosgrove? Lady Gaga? Maroon 5? I mean, who would it be? I'd have to go do my research if I want to connect to the audience. Now, if I'm talking to people of my generation, oh yeah, Alice Cooper, the Monkees, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Genesis, many others. So you want to get a feel, and you're just looking around the room and saying, I think the average age of the audience is, and that helps you to the best of your ability. Gender. Here's the thing about gender. Just because on the outside somebody looks male or female doesn't mean that they identify with being male or female. There are individuals who may be gender neutral. You have to treat every single topic with gender neutrality. There are not topics that are more male or more female, specific to the audience, gender neutral. Be co-equal, be fair to the audience. Third, ethnicity. This is a really hard one to figure out because we unfortunately sometimes look to stereotypes in regards to coming up with ethnicity, and we sometimes look at facial features, body images, skin color as being indicators of ethnicity. Not always. Be encompassing of all. So in other words, have a multicultural inclusion. Don't treat anyone in your audience as other. Education. Sometimes audience members may know more, might know less, or might know the same as you. If you think they know less than you, do not talk down. Are you getting this? Is this registering? Yay! Might be somewhat off-putting to them. If you think they might know more than you, don't be talking up to them because it puts you as a speaker in a submissive position. The best way is not to talk upwardly or downwardly, but talk laterally to your audience as if you're having one enlarged conversation with your best friends. Next, religion. Now, sometimes we look to the outward signs that someone's religious. They might have jewelry, clothing, might have headwear, they might have certain veil, or they might have something that indicates they belong to an Eastern or a Western or even a contemporary religion. But the reason we want to try to figure out that if we have members in our audience that are somewhat religious is because it goes to what Maslow would have called our hierarchy of values. It goes to our values, like our beliefs, what we believe to be true and false. Values, what we value as good or bad. Attitudes, what we see as positive or negative. And of course, those three mold and shape our behaviors, how we act. Last, well, I should say next, is economic status. We look to, again, clothing, jewelry, accessories, maybe the car they drove in, maybe the neighborhood they live in, to kind of get an idea for their socioeconomic background so that we know, so that we can know what to ask of them and what to stay away from. One of my indicators is to look around and see if I see a lot of Starbucks or energy drinks or any other specialty drinks where I know how much those cost. That tells me I can ask a little more of them as opposed to if I didn't see any of those. Last but not least is group membership. There are two types: groups that we volunteer to be members of, and groups that we had no chance of volunteering for. A non-voluntary group is family. I know I didn't choose my siblings, and I'm sure they weren't happy to choose me either. Sometimes as kids, we're not able to choose our socioeconomics, we don't get to choose our ethnicity. When we're younger, we can't choose our religion. There's a lot of non-voluntary groups that we get into. Then later in life, there are groups that we have no choice but to join, like again, gender, race, ethnicity, and so on. But we can change our other groups. So you just want to get a feel for what groups you think your audience members may relate to so that you can know how to connect to the audience, because all of this is about the ability to connect to your audience and know how to give a speech to them rather than repel them. So again, Abraham Maslow has what we call the psychographics. Again, how we tend to connect with our audience. Now, in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he has physical needs, safety needs, love needs, esteem needs, and self-actualization. If I'm giving a speech on recycling, that's going to hit the first level of Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which connects to all of us. We all need clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, clean soil to grow our food in. We all need shelter and clothing. So if I'm going to give an informative speech on recycling, I'm going to connect to most of the students. If, on the other hand, I'm going to inform students on how to set goals and succeed, that would be self-actualization, becoming all that you can be. Some people are very driven, and they might connect to that. Other people, maybe not so much. So I may or may not connect to everyone in the class. Just know which of these needs that you're aiming for so that you know at least what your aim is and how to connect to the audience. Okay, that's all we have for today in regards to audience analysis. We will talk to you next time. And you can imagine, I'm listening.